How can architecture trigger social development? Please share an instance.
What is pertinent? In some projects, the social dimensions is very important, but even in a project that apparently has no... one of the last projects that we have on the board is the new bank offices for the IDB, Inter-American Development Bank in Buenos Aires. So in principle, one would say it's a bank. No, it's not social. But in that project, the president of the bank said, it's true we're a bank, but we're a development bank. While doing our headquarters, can we trigger the same amount of development that we expect from the projects we finance? So, in Buenos Aires, there's a very big slum in front of the wealthiest neighborhood. It's called Villa 31 and in front of Recoleta. So the rail tracks separate these two. They're not connected, but the workforce of the wealthy neighborhood is in that slum. People walk an hour a day to go to the end of the train station to go work there and back. So the original request from the bank was, can we build our building inside the slum? That was already a very bold move. Not even an architect inside. You know, somebody taking the decision by doing a building there, we may bring some level of development. And we were called to try to give form to that request. Well, our conclusion at the beginning there was, don't do it, because it's more theoretical than practical. Unless there are 4 conditions here, your bank is not going to produce that expected development. That banks need a pedestrian connection to public transportation. Otherwise, your staff won't be able to come. Car access. You have 250 events a year where you are trying to transfer knowledge to political counterparts through projects that you finance: water, sewage, infrastructure, electricity, energy. In addition to lending money, you make a technological transfer. So you need to create this. There's no access here. If you build here, you're going to be occupying the scarcest resource in the slum, which is public space. So you need to be elevated and create maybe something underneath, but for that regulation has to be changed. So we said, we can ask the city for these conditions for which they don't have the money, or, and this is the moment where design can make a change. We can make the bank solve those conditions with the project itself. So what if the bank, instead of being a building inside the slum, it's a bridge on top of the railways so that people can use that pedestrian bridge. The bank can use the structure in between, and you're linking the wealthy part of the city with the poor part of the city that both need each other. So that project that required a vote in the Congress to change the law for air rights about the railroad, that is not a minor thing to be achieved, was voted by a majority. And that it was not a project that in principle is a social project. Yet, if you pay attention to the conditions, then you may call it social. I don't like the labeling of the thing because it immediately carries some kind of work, pro bono work. I mean, whatever you produce, it's okay. Here you have to be challenged and you have to deliver quality. So I guess that the social condition is only one of the things that you pay attention if you're rigorous in identifying what are the forces at play that inform the form of the project.
Why do you not focus on private housing? Can we make private housing projects timeless as well?
Technological limits, aesthetical limits. So all the modern architecture from Corbusier, Savoie to Mies, French House. I mean, architecture has been trying to expand the limit at the private household, using it as it's a very, you have to coordinate less people, so you have to convince less people. That's why I guess it was possible to use it as an experimental field. That's not the case anymore for private households. It's more a way to show off wealth, or just other forces are there that for us at least were not interesting. And to start with, again, it's not a moral issue for us. It's where the size of our practice, I guess, has a lot to do with this. We try to be as small as possible. Sometimes we don't succeed. Some projects require from us to grow, but if possible, we try to keep us as tight as possible as a group, to move fast, to be flexible, to be light on our feet. Also because we don't want to depend from projects. We don't need projects. We want projects. So we don't have to take a project just to pay the office, and then that gives us a lot of freedom. The other side of the coin is that we can't do everything, so we have to choose. And we choose according to the level of ignorance that we have. The less we know, the more a challenge for us means, so we go into that. And a private house, in general, is not that of a big challenge. Unless you frame it in a way where you challenge yourself. And this was the case for this house we did, where we, instead of wanting to expand the limits of architecture, we wanted to compress them. Let's think of a field of knowledge as having two boundaries. One on the edges that you would like to expand, but then another one, a core that you would like to contract, so that you will arrive to a more irreducible, essential center. That's something that in social housing is not a choice. You are forced to do that. You're not given the time, not the resources to respond, but with what's strictly necessary. So we want to take that training that we had in social housing and see how it performed in a house, a weekend house, that in principle has no constraints, but out of self-discipline, we wanted to see how primitive that house could be. You know, a weekend house, in principle, is a banality. You've already solved your basic needs, but seen from a certain perspective is a moment where people allow themselves to abandon the cliches, the convention. They can be, in principle, more relaxed. Not having a client there, we wanted to go into that direction. So, how many of the contemporary cliches are you willing to abandon while going to your weekend retreat? Can you give up? How much can you give up? So that house is an exploration and research in how basic can life be. A fire, not a kitchen. Just a structure, not an architecture. We wanted to see and test how many can we get rid of more lines, less elements, less and less and less, until you achieve something that is, on the one hand, timeless. You know, we wanted to avoid any trend, and when seen, have you seen the pictures of this house I'm talking about?
I've seen this in the running.
Yes. So 3 concrete volumes, one cantilevering over the cliff, a tower in the back to put weight so that it can cantilever, and then in between the two, a tilted volume where there's a fire. When we designed it, we thought it was going to be, it's not a chimney, it's actually an outdoor space within the house where, when you arrive to the beach, at least in Chile, one of the first things you do is to light up a fire. It's how to domesticate nature in a way. It proved to have another advantage that we never thought about, and I guess that's what intuition sometimes, you know things that you don't know you know. It was so windy that any kind of terrace, you know, you see other houses along the shore in the Pacific Ocean, they have a terrace, you can't use the terrace, it's windy all the time. So this house had that outdoor space in its core. So the only way to experience outdoor and be able to be there is by being protected at the house. So it's a change it's like turning a plant inside out and having an outdoor space at the core that is a fire, but it's not to heat the house. It's just a sign of human domestication of nature, I guess, and because it's pure structure, it has nothing but the structure. We hope it will age over time and have time on its side and not against it.
What is the ultimate thing you desire to achieve through architecture?
I think exactly the same thing we're trying to do with every single project we do, which is be responsive to needs. So from that point of view, closing a process, check, needs solved, and at the same time opening new possibilities. What is in your potential? Let's say maybe the clearest thing is housing, but in every single project it's like that. You come from a slum, you don't have water, no sewage, no electricity, so on the one hand you would like to satisfy those basic needs, check. But the moment you've solved or you've gone beyond survival mode, your world opens to a new set of things. What about the education of my children? What I'm going to leave my children as a heritage? Will they have value? Will be something that on top of them will be able to build. So at the same time it's opening to the next set of, as you were saying, I mean, happiness. At both an individual level and a collective level. And that happens in every single project. I mean, you're required to do a lab for a university. Okay, you have to have a check on space for experimentation and a lot of very sophisticated air for whatever. At the same time, you're opening new possibilities for knowledge creation. It's about exploring what's next. So either projects at the same time able to close and open something, that would be a great, if we achieve that,